20% of the world's oil moves through a single waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. It is roughly 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Right now, it is effectively closed. Iranian forces have blocked it, mined it, and turned it into a toll gate they control. This isn't a local skirmish. What happens in the Strait of Hormuz ripples through your gas tank, your grocery bill, and the fertilizer price that decides whether farmers in 3 continents plant this season. The war between the US, Israel, and Iran that began on February 28 has already sent oil prices soaring. And it is not over. So the United States has quietly moved over 50,000 troops into the region, roughly 10,000 more than normal. Marines, paratroopers, warships, bombers. And this week, another 35,000 sailors and Marines arrived aboard the USS Tripoli. The question is, what are they actually going to do? In this video, we break down 3 specific military options the US is actively considering, and why each one carries consequences that go far beyond this conflict. Stay with us. Let's establish the forces because the numbers matter. Before this war began, around 40,000 American troops were stationed around the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, the UAE. That is the baseline. That is normal. Since February 28, that number has swelled past 50,000. The Pentagon sent over 120 aircraft, F-35S, F-22S, F-15Zs, AWACS surveillance planes, the largest air surge in the region since the 2003 Iraq War. Then came 2,000 paratroopers from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, the unit trained specifically for rapid parachute assaults, deep inside enemy territory. Now add the 31st and 11th Marine Expeditionary Units, 4,500 Marines and sailors on amphibious assault ships designed for one thing, forced entry. These are not peacekeeping forces. The USS Tripoli, the USS Boxer, these are the ships you send when you want the option to put boots on a hostile beach. But here is what makes this genuinely different from previous buildups. The aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford, America's most powerful warship, has been pulled out. It caught fire and limped to Croatia for repairs, which means the U.S. is projecting enormous ground and air power while its capital ship is in dry dock. That changes the calculus. The first option is the one the Pentagon considers most critical, reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has placed what military analysts are calling a toll gate between 2 key geographic points in the strait, essentially seizing control of the narrow international waterway. The stated U.S. goal is to destroy those positions and restore freedom of navigation. This would begin with Tomahawk cruise missile strikes on Iranian air defense systems, mines, and fast attack boat positions. Then, armed helicopters and naval gunfire would suppress remaining threats. The Marines' forcible entry capability means they can, if needed, physically land and clear IRGC positions on both shores. It is dangerous, but it is achievable. The strategic prize here isn't just oil. The Strait of Hormuz also controls helium exports, fertilizer shipments, and liquefied natural gas. 3 countries, Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait, depend on it for their entire export economy. If the U.S. reopens it, those governments stay stable. If it stays closed, the pressure on them becomes enormous. But reopening the strait still leaves Iran with its most dangerous card unplayed. And that brings us to option 2. Kharg Island is Iran's economic jugular. Roughly 90% of Iran's oil exports flow through this single island in the northern Persian Gulf. The U.S. already bombed more than 90 military targets there on March 14th. And now, Trump has publicly stated, in an interview with the Financial Times, that seizing Kharg Island is a possibility. Quote, maybe we take Kharg Island. Maybe we don't. We have a lot of options. What would this operation actually look like? Analysts describe a sequence: carrier-based airstrikes first, to suppress Iranian air defenses, then helicopter-borne marine assaults to secure the coastline, followed by paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne to hold terrain. But here is the problem. Kharg is defended by a significant IRGC Revolutionary Guard force employing what one analyst called a porcupine strategy. Fortified, dispersed, waiting. If the U.S. takes Kharg, it doesn't destroy Iran's oil capacity immediately. It seizes control of it. Iranian tankers currently berthed there would be blocked from leaving. The economic shock to Tehran would be near immediate. But holding the island would require sustained force. Military experts suggest a division, like the 10th Mountain, a unit specialized in holding contested terrain. Iran's parliament speaker has already responded. He warned that any regional country assisting in such an operation would face strikes on its own vital The third option is the one that keeps nuclear analysts awake at night. Iran is sitting on approximately 440 kilograms of uranium, enriched to 60% purity, just below weapons grade. The IAEA has confirmed this. Trump is reportedly considering a military operation to physically extract that stockpile from Iranian soil. Not bomb it, extract it. Why extract rather than destroy? Because bombing enriched uranium creates unpredictable radiological contamination. Extraction, seizing the material and removing it, eliminates the threat without the downwind risk to civilian populations. But it requires troops to go underground into hardened Iranian facilities under fire and come back out. Military veterans describe it as one of the most complex operations imaginable. This mission would likely fall to Special Operations Forces, not regular Marines. The precedent cited by analysts is the Bin Laden raid, a precise, limited, high-risk, deep penetration operation. The difference is that Bin Laden wasn't defended by an entire nation-state with anti-aircraft systems, ballistic missiles, and an estimated 90 million people behind him. Meanwhile, back in Washington, the political ground is shifting under Trump's feet. Here is the political reality that doesn't get enough coverage. A growing number of House Republicans, including combat veterans, former Navy SEALs, and frontline incumbents from competitive districts, are voicing public opposition to any ground deployment. One Republican, speaking anonymously, put it bluntly: any boots-on-the-ground invasion of Iran would cost the party up to 70 congressional seats in the midterms. Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters he hadn't seen the details of the Marine deployment, a statement that itself reveals how fast this is moving. Democrats are preparing a second war powers vote for mid-April. They believe they're one Republican vote away from passing a resolution restricting Trump's military authority. Meanwhile, Iran and the U.S. are reportedly exchanging messages through Pakistan as a go-between, though both sides deny formal negotiations. Trump has publicly stated Iran is afraid to admit talks are happening because its own population might turn on its leaders. He has passed a 15-point framework through Pakistani intermediaries demanding, among other things, Iran abandon its nuclear program entirely. Tehran has responded with counter-demands, including recognition of their control of the Strait of Hormuz, reparations for war damage, and the removal of all U.S. bases from the Middle East. The gap between these positions is enormous. So here is where we are. Over 50 American troops surround a country the size of Alaska with 93 million people and nuclear-adjacent capabilities. 3 military options are on the table: reopen the strait, seize Kharg Island, extract the uranium. Any one of them could end the conflict faster than expected. Any one of them could expand it into something far larger. The next 30 days will likely determine which story this becomes. If you want to follow this as it develops, subscribe and turn on notifications. The story doesn't end here, it evolves.